lords and casters, welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday night live stream. Y'all should have seen everybody dancing in the green room while I was playing. Our man Ricky, 6-shooter Texan, had his groove thing going. Anyway, I digress. Hope everybody had a good week. CW, how was your week?
Hot.
Yeah.
It got hot up here.
How hot was it?
It's in the 90s.
Brooch.
It's in the 90s. We've
I was waiting for the punch.
high, but it's 95. It was 95 or 96 today. It was 93 or 94 yesterday. It was about the same day before, but it's been humid. We haven't really seen humidity this year. We've had a number of days that were as warm already, which is early for us, but the humidity didn't come. That's what's rough. Being my heart conditions and such, I really feel it. I walk around with a cinder block on my chest, so it's not too comfortable. But didn't get to the range this week, but I did get a couple of videos up. I got a bunch of, I think I put up 3 or 4 shorts with a couple different things going on. And I got an extra video this week during the week that went on. I think I've got an extra one next week. So 3 or 4 videos next week. So it's been a good week. When we get hot weather here, it's usually comes with rain at the end of the day. So we'll have sometimes it's half an hour, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 15 minutes, but it'll just open up and thunder boomers, and it'll dump, and then it'll clear out and be a sauna. And that's what it's like outside right now. I just went and shut the door, and I heard the booms, and it must have rained too. And it's thick out there.
Yeah.
How was your week?
Go ahead, bro.
All right. Sorry, I didn't know if you were going to talk or not. I'm doing good, man. My week was all right. We were on 10-hour shifts this past week. It was very hot, very humid. I sweated like no one else's business. I don't do well in heat. New Texican's out there on the side, and he keeps trying to get me to move to Texas, man. I just don't think I can ever deal with it, dude. I think I'd pass out. So it's hot enough here. The weather's crazy enough here. But yeah, overall, week was all right. Not too bad. Nice, easy day today. Messed around a little bit with some 45 Colt today. And we'll probably continue doing some of that over the weekend. But yeah, doing good. Good to be here. Good to see everyone out there in the side chat. And see, Rebel, how was your week, brother?
Oh, painful. I know y'all get tired of hearing about my knee, but I dealt with it. And these little Jack Russells try to yank me off my feet all the time. I'm gonna be on the ground one of these days with them dragging me. But it went pretty good. I figured out I can't really groundhog hunt all that good because I can't walk on uneven ground all that great. So it's hard for me to set up on a groundhog just anywhere. My buddy's been trying to help me, and then when the heat indexes went south or north of 100, he said, "Don't worry about it. I ain't groundhog hunting either." So, but business has been slow as it usually is when it gets hot, and we've done this and that, but got some cool stuff in the shop. Think I've got a load figured out for this triple deuce, and exploring a theory on that, and that's about it. Tex, how about you?
Yeah, we've had a pretty good week here. Weather's about the same as everybody else's, getting up to around 90, 95, and then in the afternoon the showers have come in. They're spotted. We didn't get nothing here, but it poured at the shop today. We had Wide Cutter Wednesday come up this week, and then I put up a video Sunday on my new project for my Sheridan air rifle, so got that going.
Woohoo!
Got some seals in for it today, the ones I screwed up last Sunday.
I've got an old Sheridan pellet rifle.
Yeah, it's got
I
the
might
lead
have-
seals in it. If you
I
don't,
might have 6 or 8.
if you don't do that lead seal right, you'll screw it up real quick.
Oh, I thought that's what you were doing when you texted me there.
Yeah. And I ended up having a piece of old one still stuck in there. I didn't see it, so when I tried to put it together, it just wasn't going together right, and I ended up messing the seals up. So
A whole new level of respect for guys like you who do those regularly, because I it's beyond me. I got through it. I got it done, but I won't ever do another one.
that's about it for me. Kyle?
Just like everybody else, it's hot and humid. You walk outside and you feel like you need to whip out your pocket knife to cut the air so you can walk through it. I was out of pocket for a couple of days. Me and the wife went up to the mountains. That was nice. It wasn't that hot up there, but did some fishing and riding around in the Jeep and, just had a good time. No internet, so I got a break from everything, which is always well needed. But other than that, Jamie, how you doing, buddy?
Better than I deserve, man. Much better than I deserve. I was going to say something, but I forgot what it was now. But yeah, it just like it turned hot down here, like flipping a switch. I mean, like, and I tell you when it happened, Kyle. Back me up or tell me I'm wrong. It was the week that the kids got out of school. It was during the week before Memorial Day.
Yep.
During that week, all things changed weather-wise in the great state of Georgia.
It went from
Same way up here.
75 degrees and low humidity to 90 degrees and oh my God.
I know it's like,
Basically, it went from May to July. It just skipped June over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it did the same thing here, and it was the middle of last week. Everything just changed. Prior to that, it wasn't bad. We were in the 70s, nice breezes out, all that. Good, almost no humidity. It was beautiful. Now it's just stupid amounts of humidity, and yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. Summer, particularly in Georgia, and it may vary on where you happen to be, but summer is undefeated, guys. Mother Nature will not be denied. Look at Reloader 762. Good to see you out there, brother man. 101.
It's too early to be talking numbers like that.
Yeah, it is. This is what? June 12th. Which reminds me, my baby boy's got a birthday coming up, and he will turn 40 years old.
Wow.
When you're going along and you're hitting these different birthdays and blah, 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 you think, well, 63, 64 coming soon. When you stop and you realize that your son, whom you welcomed into the world, is about to turn 40. Yeah.
It blows my mind that my oldest is 24 now. Seems
Yeah.
like just the other day I was changing his diapers.
And my oldest is 33, and my middle one just turned 30, and then my youngest one's 21. And time goes by fast.
It sure does.
I ain't gonna start picking out the lining of the coffin yet or anything.
Yeah. Look at Dale Pogue. How old will you be, Dale? Bobby Barlow has an important question. Is it safe to shoot XTP bullets in a lever action rifle?
Well, yeah.
I would say yes.
That's why
Yeah.
they have that tip.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't. I'm always scared when I do, but they say it's okay.
Well, that's what they were made for.
Right? They say it's okay.
Look at these
Yeah, I've
guys.
never had any issues. I've put them through all kinds of rifles, 45, 70s, you name it. Never had an issue with them.
Paul.
Come on, Paul. That was just uncalled for.
Oh, damn.
Funny, but wrong.
Yeah.
God.
I'm telling y'all, gotta watch Paul. He's funnier than you think he is. Dale says he's 64. GGW said he's 69.
Yeah, Glenn, it's the ones with the polymer tips on them. Yeah.
No. XTP are the pistol bullets.
Yeah, XTP are holler points.
Hollow points, yeah. Or
All
flat.
point self defense pistol bullets.
Yeah, ain't nothing to hit the primer because it's got a big old hole there.
They're still fine. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
XTP.
you're thinking of the other ones.
FTX.
FTX.
Yeah, STX or FTX or something like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Okay.
be incorrect, Glenn. Vanessa Kitty says she's 64. Ozzy's 65. Yeah, XTP are hollow point pistol bullets.
Extreme terminal performance.
Yeah,
So
they're-
that means they're claiming they're going to mushroom. They're going to expand.
Well, I will tell you this:
That's what
They
the
make
Hornet is.
they make a 30 caliber pistol bullet, XTP, for I guess like the Luger, the 30 Luger, and the Mausers, and
Not
Pistol.
30 super carry.
yeah, that too. But if you
90
load them,
bigger?
if you load them little boogers in a 300 blackout in a bolt action with trail ball, oh my God. I'd sit up at my tree stand and shoot rabbits at 75 yards, and they actually mushroom a little bit.
The rabbits or
Glenn,
the bullets?
Both.
Glenn, I'll try and get you a video out, brother. I got some in 44 mag that Willie sent me. Oh God, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a hot minute. Maybe even longer than that. He sent me a box in 45 and 44. So we'll work on getting some of those loaded up, and we'll try and get you a video on it, buddy. But yeah, they work fine. Like I said, never had any issues. I've shot them on all kinds of rifles. So
Now, Glenn, don't be bashful asking any questions. That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do.
yeah, and if you want us to make videos, let us know. Hey, we'll do what we can. Like I said, I'll try and get you a video out, man. Got some in 44 from Willie, so we'll work on getting some loaded up. Get outside, shoot them.
All right, look at these guys. All right, they're just rubbing my nose at it. Y'all know I'm trying to pick a date to quit going to work every day. Actually,
Don't rush into it, Jamie. Don't rush into it.
I'm trying to pick a date to quit getting up at 5:30 every morning. That's-
I picked a date that I'm going to start filing for my Social Security. Or getting that stuff in.
Well, you need to be doing that when you turn 65. There's our buddy MCK Willie Mock. What's going on, my brother?
I'm eligible at 66 and 7 months, or 10 months, I mean.
For full retirement?
Yeah, to get the full check without any penalties.
One of my coworkers was on the phone getting all that stuff set up, and the lady said, "You can work, but not full time. But you can't make more than $175,000 a year." And he goes, "Lady, if I was making $175,000 a year, I wouldn't be trying to get this check."
No kidding.
I don't know if I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do 65 or wait till 67.
Yeah, my full retirement date is 19, as well as when I turned 67.
Yeah.
And
I'll
I'm
be
here.
perfectly honest with all of you. All I want is every penny I've ever paid into it. Just send me one check.
Well, that is an option. You get your deposits plus the interest, but the interest ain't gonna be near as good as if you'd invested it in the stock market as you went along.
You need to start applying for it 4 months in advance.
Yeah.
So it'll all be done.
I've still got a little bit of time before I have to worry about that.
The
Where it be
difference.
seamless.
Well, at the end of this month, I'll be right at 4 months away. So
What are you talking about, Jamie? When I start getting a check, I'll get a raise.
Right?
I told you work.
I go to work every day, but I own a gun store. I'll get a raise.
Some days are good, some days are bad.
That's right.
Man.
Do
my
what?
wife got a raise when she started at 62.
Yeah. Well, I noticed the difference between 65 and 67 ain't that much, So I'm playing back and forth with that.
Yeah.
It's all on how you feel.
Another thing you got to throw in there too is how many quality years of life do I have left? And that's, No, Paul, I'm counting on Social Security being there for you, brother. You paid into it. That's a contract with the American workforce. If they're going to take your money, they're going to have to pay you.
They're going to have to give it back. And they've been taking my money for a minute.
Yeah. Since I was 14 years old.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, Scotsman, and also Florida was supposed to be underwater by the year 2000.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
whatever they can do to get you scared.
No, that one's actually pretty real, dude. I've looked into it.
Well, if they quit giving it away,
Oh no, they quit pocketing it. That's the problem.
you know what I'm saying.
They ain't giving it away; they're pocketing it. It's supposed to be for you, but it does not. End of the day, it ends up not being for you. Just like all the rest of our taxes.
They've
Supposed
dipped
to go
into that.
I like that. I like what GGW said. Scotsman, not anymore. There's a new sheriff in town, brother.
Yeah.
Here we go. Count us down. In 3, 2, 1. Hey! What's up, Mario?
What's up, buddy? West Coast weirdo.
That's interesting. Reloader 762 says he loads a 158 grain XTP out of a 35 Remington. Safe to shoot, pretty explosive since they're designed for handgun velocity. You're loading that way down, ain't you, man? You have to send me that recipe, boss.
No, you've got a good 35 Remington recipe.
I
was there to see it happen.
But I've got a whole lot more bullet molds since then.
Oh, really? For 35s?
Yes.
Oh, we need to get together and play.
CW vouched for one that no, Paul, I will not imagine the 158 XTP in a 35 weight.
I could do one better than that. I could send it out of the big lady. 358 Norma mag. Behind about 90 grains, 85 grains of power.
It'll be sawdust when it hits anything.
It'll be sawdust before it even gets there.
Yeah, but it'll scare the crap out of anything.
I shot a little 65 grain, 63 grain out of the 350 Legend, and I got 35 or 3,600 feet per second.
How heavy was it?
65 or 63 grains. It was made for the 380.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, it didn't make it past 100 yards, though.
Yeah, I guess not.
50 yards, it shot really accurate. 100 yards, it started to open up, and at 200 yards, it never hit the target.
It was dust.
Yeah, it was dust.
I don't think it went to dust. I just think it, because it's round. I just think it went.
Yeah, it started spiraling around.
Yeah, it just went wherever it was.
It went wee.
Because it made holes at 100 yards. They were just like 3 or 4 inches. But it shot like not holes at 50.
Look at that.
PRS match. That ought to be fun.
That's a good one, Curtis. Good to see you, brother.
Hey, Curtis, long time no see, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Always good to see Curtis.
Ronnie
He's
says
one
in
of those-
morning, 3rd edition.
He's one of those guys you wish lived closer, you know, like Thorzak's and CW. All you guys, I wished all y'all guys lived on the same block. You know?
Well, that'd be one party, wouldn't it?
Well, you know, Curtis is one of those guys that can just jump in a plane and fly himself there. So, you know, he's done it before. I've met him, so I know he can do it.
He was the first guy from this crowd that I met. He showed up at Bullseye, said, "Hey, Mike, Curtis Chapin," and I went, Aren't you from
Well,
way
I can
up
tell you
yonder?"
this.
Like that,
There's a
man.
small airport about 5 miles from my house.
Yeah.
Come on down. The water's fine. It's just humid.
Yeah, we met up with him. We went to lunch. We went to a couple gun stores.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Tonight
Me and Julio met him.
Yeah, I'd love to meet Julio too. I miss him.
I talked to him yesterday.
Yeah, we should probably pray for him more.
He's doing really well. He's doing really, really well.
Is he doing what better?
Yeah, he's doing really well. He sounds great. Doing really good.
Yeah, good deal. I need to call him too. I need to find out what he's using to make gas checks. Anyway, we want to talk about 30 caliber military stuff tonight, and progression, so forth and so forth.
Often referred to as fat 30s because they're bigger than 308.
Some of them blow 308 way past that. Yeah. Hey, Dwayne, 7834. Look at that mess. Good to have you in here, buddy. Oh, Glenn's fixing to go outside. Be careful, buddy. It's probably hot out there. I don't know where you're at exactly. Wish I did.
It doesn't matter. It's hot.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it's hotter up there where CW is up in New England than it is here in Georgia.
That's insane.
It is, but it won't always be that way. So anyway, we got 3 minutes till roll call, and we'll call everybody's name out. Yeah, Glenn. Only 100%.
Jeez, only 107. Reminds me of when I lived in Vegas. They were having a heat wave here in Georgia, and my sister sent me a picture, a screenshot of the weather app, and it was like 106 or something like that. I sent her one back from mine. I was like, "That's cute." It was 147 degrees. She was like, "How the hell can you even live there?" I'm like, well,
would you like a link, Curtis? We got room on the panel.
Who's clicking what?
I'm clicking mine over here. You mind?
Good Lord.
So, well, you want to start from earliest to
I
present
want to
day?
know first. I want to know what 2 cartridges Curtis is going to shoot tomorrow, and then I'm going to call out the side chat, and then we'll start with the British 303 because, in fact, it is the oldest.
That is a good shooting rifle, too.
I didn't think technically it was a 30 cal.
Well, that depends on exactly what your definition of 30 cal is.
Well, I'll just take the Ernest T. Bass thing. I don't trust them Englishers.
Yeah.
30 cal is 7.62. But anyway, for the sake of argument, we'll include that because that was a good rifle.
303 was an excellent round. There's still plenty, and I mean plenty, of old Milsurp rifles on the market, and they get shot a bunch and they still shoot good.
They ain't getting no cheaper either.
No, they are not.
Yeah, we've done discussed the fat thing, Curtis. Yeah, they're all
765 Argentine, my man.
Yeah. Actually, no, GGW. We'll have to have a separate thing about 8mm, I believe. Although it really should be. I mean, dang, as fat as some of these quote unquote 30 cals are. Y'all
Right.
type in 30 and I'll call your name out on TV.
On the TV.
Kyle Lusk was in first. He's on the panel and in the side chat. The crazy Scotsman can't spell 30, but he's
That's that Scottish math.
he's on the panel and in the side chat. 6-shooter Texan is on the panel and in the side chat. Glenn Davis is out there. Yeah, 232 is 323 is technically 8mm, but we'll get into that. GGW Outdoors is out there. Mike the Rebel Hester is on the panel as well. Paul Loud, Papa's Place, Edward Petty, Dwayne 7834, Ron 2A Matters, Bobby Barlow, Alaska One Andy, hey man, Glenn Davis, Reloader 762. Man, I need to come over and see you, dude. Dale Pogue, Chessboard, what's going on? And our introduction video, Chessboard put that together for us. I did the music, but he did the video. So thank you, Chessboard. Ozzy Osbourne's out there. Let's see. Tex I Can. Third D. Okay, I get it. Takes me a minute. CW2A is on the panel as well. Y'all make things I know, right? Bo, straighten up, boy. Ain't like somebody. He is somebody. Ain't he?
Get your mind right. Get your mind right.
All
Your
right, here we
cornbread
go.
ain't done in the middle.
The reason we're going to start with the 303 British, uh, designated as the 303 British by CIP and SAMI, or 7.7 by 56 millimeter R. Uh, it's not 0.303 inches. I'm sorry, it's not. Rimmed,
More.
tapered, bottleneck, centerfire rifle cartridge. The 303-inch bore diameter is measured between rifling lands, and as is the common practice in Europe, which follows traditional black powder convention. So whereas we're using groove to groove, they're using land to lands. So it was first manufactured in the United Kingdom as a stopgap black powder round put into service. You ready? In December 1888 for the Lee Metford rifle. From 1891, the cartridge used smokeless powder, which had been the intention from the outset, but the decision on which smokeless powder to adopt had been delayed. It was the standard British and Commonwealth military cartridge for rifles and machine guns from 1889 until it was replaced by the 7.62 by 51 millimeter NATO in the 1950s. Has 5 grooves, shoulder angle we would call alpha 2, 17 degrees, about 17 degrees.
It's
So-
a surprisingly good shooting cartridge.
It is. The lands are 7.70 millimeters or 0.303 inches, and the grooves are 7.92 millimeters or 0.312 inches. Land width is 2.12 millimeters or 0.083 inches, and its primer type is Burdan or Boxer in large rifle size. The British 303, the 303 British can handle pressures up to 52,940 psi.
You go 52,941, you're in dangerous territory. How would you measure that?
That's a whole nother discussion.
All right. SAMI maximum pressure for this cartridge is 49,000 psi. So automatically, they're already loading it down. Okay. During a service life of over 70 years with the British Commonwealth Armed Forces, the 303-inch cartridge has been its ball pattern progressed through 10 marks, eventually extending to about 26 variations. And they talk about bolt thrust here, of the 303 British is relatively low compared to many service rounds used in the early 20th century. Bolt thrust is a term used in internal ballistics and firearms that describes the amount of rearward force exerted by the propellant gases on the bolt or breech of a firearm action when the projectile is fired. So that's something I didn't know. Bolt thrust. That's a new term for me.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
Yep.
Actually, some Martini Henry rifles in 1888 were rebarreled to shoot the 303, and they called those the Martini Metfords.
Neat guns.
Those got to be. Man, they start talking about some of the like ballistite, cordite, and rifleite, the propellants. I don't really want to get into that.
Yeah, I remember learning about cordite and stuff like that. Got to be real careful.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they look like toothpicks in them. I found some that was original, took it apart, and the cordite looks like little toothpicks.
Yeah,
It's yellow, and it's different diameters.
Yeah,
They're sticks.
yeah.
Yeah.
About 5 or 6 of them in it.
So it's cool. It's cool to me that the 303 British started as a black powder round, and it was never really intended to be a black powder round. They're just they're loading it in black powder because they can't decide whether they're going to use ballistite, cordite, or rifleite.
I didn't know that it started out as a black powder round. That's interesting.
Cordite was a stick type of or chopped smokeless gunpowder. Rifleite was a true
Indianapolis.
nitrocellulose powder composed of soluble and insoluble nitrocellulite. I can't even say this stuff. They're similar to French smokeless powders. Here's an interesting thing. Initial 303 Mark I and Mark II service cartridges used a 215 grain round nose copper nickel full metal jacket bullet with a lead core. After tests determined that the service bullet had too thin a jacket when used with cordite, the Mark II bullet was introduced with a flat base and a thicker copper nickel jacket.
Too much science. Too much science.
Right.
Body's shutting down. Too much science.
Right. Then they go into
Science is what we do, man. It really is. People think it's just a hobby, this, that, the other, but it's really not. It's science. We delve into a lot of different things, and you got to be careful with it.
If the bullet's not holding together, you got to make it tougher.
And for those of y'all just tuning in the side chat, we always stress safety.
Yes. You can use cordite and rifleite, but don't use kryptonite.
I don't think anyone's going to see Superman anytime soon.
Yeah, that's right.
I know they keep saying the aliens are coming, but I don't think you're going to see Superman.
No.
You know what's funny? They say that aliens are real and all this stuff, and the American people are just like, whatever. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
we didn't know it.
We don't care.
What they actually say is, sure they are.
Yeah.
Kind of like Sasquatch. Anyway, the British was first. Diameters are all over the place. Here's a picture. Let me show you all this stuff. You ready for this, Ricky?
Oh, boy.
There's that stuff you're talking about. Cordite, MDT. Like toothpicks.
Oh, isn't that cool?
This is the Mark 7 round. And this stuff kept going. They had 18 or 20 something different variations.
I tell you, cordite puts you in the mind of deck cord.
This is the quote unquote tail heavy design. This drawing's from around 1915. Let me see what else we got. Oh, there's an even better picture. Y'all got to see this. Sorry, Ricky. Is that what you're talking about?
That's it. That's the stuff.
Looks like candy.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat that.
Yeah. It'll give you
Explosive
gas.
candy.
It'll
Looks
give you
like-
gas.
It'll give you gas. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It looks
That's
like
another
spaghetti.
thing I forgot about the British.
Here's
303.
Kyle Lawrence that said it.
Yeah. It's
It's
not
got
for stripper clips.
It's got a 10 round internal magazine.
Yep.
Another thing y'all might not realize about these World War II eras and World War I era cartridges is they used a lot of them use steel cores. And there's a stripper clip. That's only a 5 rounder. What's up with that? And there's you a picture of it. See, the rim is not big like a 30-30 round. It's a rimmed cartridge, but it's not that big.
I remember you used to get them things for like, you could pick them up for $75 to $125. You can't do that anymore.
Man, this stuff just keeps going on and on and on about. After World War II, Australians find themselves with quite a few 303 service rifles, but at the same time, new legal restrictions on military ammunition, which led to development of many Wildcat rounds. The best known of which are 303-25 and 303-22. So think about that. In South
How do you get to a 303-22?
Africa, you take a 303 cartridge, pull the bullet out, neck the thing down to hold a 22 bullet. There you go. And the same thing was going on in South Africa as well. They necked down a 303 British to 6mm and named it the 6mm Musgrave. So, yeah. Laws, man. Laws. All right. We probably spent too much time on that one because we're probably not going to get done. So very close behind that one from 1888, remember, is the 7.62 by 54 millimeter R. Russian Empire introduced in 1891. Originally designed for the bolt-action Mosin-Nagant rifle, it was used during the late Tsarist era and throughout the Soviet period to the present day. Cartridge remains one of the few standard issue rimmed cartridges still in military use and has one of the longest service lives of any military issued cartridge. It's still used in the Dragunov, the SV-98, and other sniper rifles, as well as some modern general purpose machine guns, like the PKM, and I can't even say that. It was the 3-line cartridge model of 1891. The round has erroneously come to be known as the 7.62 millimeter Russian and is still often referred to as such colloquially, but according to standards, the R in the designation stands for rimmed, in line with standard CIP designations. The name is sometimes confused with the 7.62 Soviet round, which refers to the rimless 7.62 by 39 intermediate cartridge used in the SKS and AK based AK-47 RPK rifles and light machine guns. So it is the second oldest cartridge still in regular combat service with several major armed forces in the world. It is second to the 303 British, which entered service in 1889 and remains in service primarily in some non-combat Commonwealth nations around the world. 2021, the cartridge reached 130 years in service.
It's rather impressive.
Yeah, 303 is still used in, like you said, some Commonwealth countries. I believe Australia is one. Trying to think of the other one.
I know it's used a lot in African countries for their militaries.
December 2013, the 7.62 by 54R is mainly used in designated marksman and sniper rifles like the Dragunov sniper rifle, the SV-98, and machine guns like the PMK. It's also one of the few, along with the 22 Hornet, 30-30 Winchester, and 303 British, bottleneck rimmed centerfire rifle cartridges still in common use today. Most of the bottleneck rimmed cartridges of the late 1880s and 1890s fell into disuse by the end of the First World War. They compare it here to the 30-06 Springfield with its higher service pressure and case capacity will outperform the 7.62 by 54 millimeter R with the same length test barrels used, though it is very uncommon as 30-06 Springfield firearms are generally sold with much shorter barrels than the 7.62 54R firearms. The 54R chronographs around 3,000 feet per second from the typical Mosin-Nagant, which has a 29-inch barrel, while the heavier 180 grain and that 54 RS with 150 grain, with the 30-06 180 grain loads, chronographed low 2700s, identical to 30-06 Springfield performance from a 24-inch barrel, and slightly better than the 30-06 performance with a 22-inch barrel. Barrel length matters. And they go on to talk about the full metal jackets, the 210 grain round nose bullet, and in 1908 that was replaced by a 148.3 grain light bullet, the Spritzer bullet, who's but the basic design has remained to the present. They had what they call an L bullet, had a obviously I don't speak Russian, so I'm at disadvantage here. Has a ballistic coefficient of 0.338 with G1. And they talk about snipers, sniper rifles. They a lot of these things are a lot of the 54R rounds are steel core. We're used to lead core. Here's a picture for y'all.
Yeah, try slipping a Mosin Nagana in your Ford Ranger behind the seat.
Get it. This is Essen cellular and below hollow point boat tail. That is the Czech silver tip, mild steel core, light ball, Hungarian silver and yellow tip. Wait a minute, stop.
Use that up arrow.
Whoa, here.
Whoa, mule.
Anyway, there you go. What I don't like is this copper washed
Case.
Steel case. Yeah.
steel case stuff. Now I've blown off the screen and can't do anything. Let me play with this for a minute. I can't even close it out now. There we go.
Technology is not always wonderful, people.
Technology is great when it works.
I was trying to do a video the other day, and I could not get anything to focus properly whatsoever. And now I've got a nice freaking camera, and the thing just would not freaking work. So we'll have to figure that one out.
Gabriel, you just put a smile on my face. I pictured Yosemite Sam. When I say whoa, I mean whoa.
Stupid dragon.
Here we go. Let's try this again. All right. So basically a cellular and bellet target round, boat tail hollow point, Czech silver tip with a mild steel core, the Hungarian silver yellow tip, that one right there, with a mild steel core, heavy ball wolf gold, soft point. This one right here is a 1986 steel core light ball, factory 60, Yugoslav surplus ammo, and then this one is the 1940s lead core light ball. So this is what they were shooting in World War II, probably. 7.62 by 54R, 7.62 by 39, and the 7.62 by 25. Their pistol submachine gun round. Me and CW were talking about that earlier. That's a pretty nice pistol round. And any of you guys that have shot a PPSH or a Tucker probably know that round. That's near 357 Magnum force there. There's just some empty cases. The 54R, 7.62 by 51 NATO. That's the X39. That's the 223-556, and that's the 39. 54, 5.45 by 39. There's your diagram. Of course, we don't speak millimeters, so we don't know what that means.
Some of us do.
Well, if you admit it, you're
Communist.
I really don't know what this is, except for this is a steel core, this is a lead soft point, and this is a steel core. That right there is a tracer round, and it says, but I tried to study this out and make sense of it, but I can't. So they use these copper wash steel jackets, like they make their cases out of. With they do that with bullets as well. So that seems to be a little bit unfair to me. So this one started in 1891 and still continues in use up until this moment. And it's pretty much at this point designated as their sniper marksman rifle. Can y'all imagine that? That thing shoots that dang good.
It don't really. It's MOA or a little bit better if you get a good one, but it's good enough. You got to think like a Russian. I can make a lot of them cheap, and it's good enough.
I like that. You got to think like a Russian.
Yep. That's how they build tanks, guns, everything.
What's up, Curtis?
Yeah, if you look at the look at the history of the AK and stuff
Curtis.
like that, he did not give up in his pursuit to build the ultimate thing that he could build and make it just run and run and run.
Mm-hmm. Designed to be repaired with a rock and a stick on the side of a mountain.
What are we talking about?
An AK-47.
I thought we was talking about the lunar vehicle.
Same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
M. Gabriel says they are Imperial.
Oh, Lord.
How you been, Curtis? You all right, buddy?
Yeah, everything's well. Can you hear all right?
Yes.
Okay, I got the microphone here. Yeah, okay. It's, you guys will laugh. I couldn't find my camera. I rearranged some stuff over on this end of the bench, and I finally remembered that it was piled over there waiting to move things around. So I finally found it.
So what are you shooting tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow is a military shoot at Hillsdale Rifle Club in Hillsdale, Michigan. This shoot is not at Hillsdale College. Hillsdale College has a really nice shooting facility, but it's all short range stuff. They don't have a rifle range. A lot of archery and handgun and shotgun stuff. So they've got actually one of the big championship trap things was just there not too long ago. But anyway, this is at Hillsdale Rifle Club. It's a monthly military rifle shoot. Their rules are pretty lax. It has to be a military receiver and a military cartridge. So you can, if you wanted to, you could have a 1903 chambered in something other than 30-06. Like I actually have one in 308. So tomorrow I'll be shooting, and we shoot in two ranges. We shoot 200 yards and 300 yards, and then at each yardage we shoot different classes. So for the 200-yard bolt action iron sights, I'll shoot 1903. That's chambered in 308. So that's a little bit of a weird one, but it's a cool rifle. For 200 yards auto loader iron sights, I'll shoot an M1 Garand. For 300 yards optics, I'll shoot M1A. And then we also kind of did a throw together class, which we generically call super match. And that's basically a match rifle. So I have a 1903 that's 30-06. It's all fitted out for Wimbledon Cup. So it's the reason we made that class is those rifles just aren't fair to shoot against the standard military rifles, even at 200 yards. They have such advantage with the Olympic sights and whatnot. There's videos, I think, of all of those rifles on my channel. You have to go back a while to get the old 308 and odd 6. It's got a hard barrel on it. It's a very nice rifle. And then the 1903 that's got 308 barrel on the channel too. As is my M1 and hand videos on there. And then
Curtis, your audio is very echoey.
what if I put a microphone closer?
That's a little better.
Is it a little better? This mic usually works really good. Test.
Little reverb going out.
No, it sounds like you're swallowing it there, brother.
That's not a very nice
microphone.
Let's see what it allows me to do. Let's see settings. It says my browser's not supported for background noise removal. Give me a minute. I'll change the browser. Just give me a minute. I'll be right back.
All right. Those kids are Gary.
When did the 30-40 Craig come into the picture?
We talked about that last week,
That's right.
and it was 1892.
That was a military cartridge, Dave. So
Yes, it was.
that's why I'll bring it up.
Is that it? So Gary and the boys out west had their big meetup and shoot this. I believe it was this past weekend, maybe the weekend before that. It did, didn't it, Mike? I think what happens there is your microphone is not only picking up your voice, it's picking up your it's picking up your speakers as well. So to combat this, we either have to use headphones or put our speakers, our microphones, a good ways away from our speakers.
And to be fair and honest with you, sometimes it's just StreamYard and
It is.
and how that all works. You know, you get so many people on, and somehow or other you start getting a reverb from one person or the other, and they can jump off, it'll disappear, they jump back in, it pops right back up, and it's just something to do with StreamYard. I don't know exactly what it is. No one's been able to figure it out. Not even StreamYard, but it happens. Hopefully you can get it figured out.
We were just discussing the possible causes of reverb, Curtis.
I had the switch on my amplifier. I had the reverb switch on.
See, now you sound fantastic. There you
Yeah,
go.
it's a lot better. But man, that was a really cool effect. I didn't know what you did there.
There's this right by my microphone. There's this big spring, and then when you talk at it, it goes. Brrr. No, I'm not sure. I might have had the wrong microphone selected, but I did change browsers and switch that around a little bit. I might have actually had the audio on the camera rather than on the microphone. I'm not sure.
Sounds
Okay.
good now.
Well,
No,
good.
you're perfect now, man.
I'm glad it's. Is my video reversed? For me, my video's reversed now.
It's always like that on StreamYard,
I
bro.
was gonna say you might have 10 or something, but no, you're all right.
If you go down and click on the camera button or either the little gear settings,
Yeah.
you can turn that around.
Camera, mirror my camera. Okay. Yeah, that's better. So now it's, okay. So reaching out that way. Yep. Okay, that's better.
Okay, good. See, I helped.
Well, what the world doesn't know is I'm doing this on a Chromebook, so that makes sense.
That's a bad word around me right now, bro.
There's part of the problem right there. Damn Chromebooks.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I said that for Jamie's benefit.
Let's do this right quick. 3003 Springfield, short-lived cartridge, developed in 1903, obviously, to replace the 3040 Craig, which was developed in the early 1890s to provide the U.S. Armed Forces with a smokeless powder cartridge. Anyway, in the new Springfield 1903 rifle, which is an absolutely gorgeous rifle, guys. It was also called the 3045 since it used 45 grain, 2.9 gram, 10 ounce powder charge. The name was changed to 3003 to indicate the year of adoption. It used a 220 grain round nose bullet, and it was replaced after only 3 years of service by the 30-06, firing a Spitzer bullet that had better ballistic performance. The 3040 Craig was used in the Craig Jorgensen rifle. Somebody asked me that earlier, which was the first bolt-action rifle adopted by the U.S. military and the first that used smokeless powder. The rifle had some serious limitations compared to the new Mauser rifles being used by European armies. Its 5-round capsule magazine was loaded 1 round at a time rather than using a stripper clip into the box magazine, and Craig Jorgensen's single locking lug on the bolt made the action much weaker than the strong 2-lug Mauser bolt, limiting the power of the round.
But God, they're smooth. God, they're smooth.
I know. A new rifle was designed using the Mauser as a guide, and a new cartridge was designed for it. There was also one called the 3001, developed in 1901, or the thick rim.
There's not that much difference in the 03 and the 06, is there? I don't
It's
believe.
mostly the cartridge, not the gun.
Yeah. I meant the cartridge, CW.
I think the main difference is the bullet.
Wait, what's Chapman got there?
It was the pressure it was loaded to and the bullet that it fired.
Yeah. Case design kind of stayed the same. So
Here we go. I got a picture. Curtis
we
likes
always like pictures.
The neck length changed. Yeah, the neck length changed is the main thing. It went from the round nose bullet to the Spitzer bullet, and the neck length was shortened just a little bit. And the reason that was done is because they rechambered a lot of existing rifles, and to get the seating depth of the Spitzer compatible with the engaging the rifling of the barrels, they turned the barrels back a turn. So they shortened the cartridge in order to salvage the old barrels and rechamber them.
Yep.
3001.
The original barrels were reamed rather deep for the round nose bullet.
I can see that. So if you turn that barrel into another revolution and shorten your case length a little bit, and you can see it's just a hair shorter up in here. And there's a 1903. And you can see that it's the same thing. It's that copper wash steel case. Well, that might have been brass. It's hard to
It's
tell.
brass. It's brass.
It's brass. In America,
Just
we
old
use brass.
Just old.
Except for now.
Yeah. I've got a 03 at the shop. Not an A3, but an 03. And it is a beautiful rifle, Jamie. You are right.
I've never seen one still chambered in the original cartridge. I wonder sometimes how many survived.
This one was rebarreled in 1919. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, those are few and far between, Curtis. I think I've only seen maybe 2.
I think there was someone had a video not that long ago where they had come across the rifle. I don't remember if they'd shot it or what, but even coming up with brass without making it from 270 is really hard. You can make it from 270 and get the right case length. Real close anyway. When you expand the neck, you lose a little bit, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I could dig them out if I had a little time. I mean, I did a couple shorts about.
I think I might have 1 or 2 cartridges kicking around in stuff that came from a friend that passed in his estate. I very well may have a couple cartridges. Believe they're head stamped 30 Army.
Mine say 3003.
Do they?
Yeah.
It probably depends on the time frame when they were made.
Yeah.
All right, here's the problems. The 3003 cartridge suffered from the start. It caused severe erosion of the bore of the rifle due to the high pressures and temperatures needed to push the heavy bullet to the desired velocity. The heavy bullet was also an issue. 220 grain bullet was aerodynamically inefficient and had a very curved trajectory. So it was not well suited for long range shots. It was also unfashionable since most countries were switching to a 7 or 8 millimeter cartridge, firing a lighter around 150 grain Spitzer pointed bullets at higher velocities. This gave better energy retention and a flatter trajectory. The 3003 was shortened slightly by 0.046 inches in the neck. The powder was reformulated to burn cooler, and the bullet was changed to a 150 grain Spitzer bullet, creating the 30-06 cartridge. Since the new 30-06 was shorter than the 303, it could fire in the 303 rifles, but resulted in poor accuracy. The 1903 rifles were all recalled, fitted with the model of 1905 sights and bayonets, and rechambered for the new 30-06 cartridge. This last procedure was done by unscrewing the barrels, milling off the end of each chamber, rethreading the barrels, rechambering them, and screwing them back on the same actions. This ended the short life of the 303. Out of nearly 75,000 made, few original 1903 rifles escaped the conversion to 30-06. Estimates range from 50 to 100 rifles. Surviving 303 rifles are a rare collector's item. Even the 3003 cartridge is a rarity and is found only in collections of rare cartridges. The 270 Winchester cartridge is based on reducing the neck diameter of the 303 cartridge case to retain a similar overall length with the same shoulder based on observations of the Chinese military trials of the 6.8 by 57 Mauser in the U.S. So the Chinese were trying to steal our 270 before it even got going, huh?
Mhm.
And we only got 2 pictures for the 303 Springfield. But if you guys can run up on one of those rifles, woo, you could name your price for it. How much?
I would name it Todd.
Next, quickly, we'll go to the next next development. Let's do that. Which is this little thing right here. We'll just go through this quickly. 7.62 by 39. We got a bunch of pictures of that mess. That is not inches, y'all. That'd be centimeters.
That's Georgia inches.
Nuh-uh.
Easy.
All right, what we got here is a 50 BMG, a 300 Win Mag, 308 Winchester, 7.62 by 39, 5.56 NATO, and a 22 long rifle, and a U.S. $1 bill.
Bless you.
Thank you.
We done seen that. We don't want to see that.
Whoa.
We don't know what that means. There's them steel core bullets again. There's wound channels.
Well, that 7.62 by 39 spawned the 220 Russian, and in America it spawned the 6 PPC and all the Grendel and all the ARC cartridges.
There's an SKS.
Hey, I've got several of those.
Hey, they're $2.98 now.
Right.
I don't know which is better, that round or the rifles that shoot them. Yeah, Harmongus, I like that. Is that a fish ruler? Yeah, that's why Curtis said it was a Georgia ruler.
Something like that.
It's a mama. 7.62 mama.
So 7.62 by 39, also called 7.62 Soviet, formerly the 30 Russian short, developed for the AK-47 and the SKS semi-automatic rifles and light machine guns. It was the AK-47 was designed shortly after World War II, which is cool. It was partly replaced in Soviet service by the 5.54 by 39 cartridge, which was introduced in the new AK-47 rifles and continues in service with modernized current issue Russian Armed Forces AK-74 service rifles, as well as the AK-12. In the 21st century, it remains a common service rifle chambering, including for newly developed rifles like the AK-15. So they started. They met to discuss the introduction of this round intermediate cartridge on July 15th, 1943. This is in the heart of World War II.
You mean World War 11?
Whatever. The Soviet planners also decided at this meeting that their new cartridge was to be used in a whole range of infantry weapons, including semi-automatic carbines, selective fire submachine guns, and light machine guns. So yeah, it came along right after World War II. And they got a bunch of variants, and the Chinese used it a lot. And, okay, so that would have been when you say the AK-47. My natural instinct goes to that. 1947 was the year that they adopted the Kalashnikov rifle for use in Soviet military applications. Would that be a correct or semi-logical
That's
assumption?
what I've always thought. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Bull gone already?
Yeah, he had to run to his son's.
All right.
It's funny that the talk turned about XTPs earlier. I'm loading some XTPs now, as a matter of fact.
Where are you loading them in?
357 Magnum for the 200-meter rams. I shoot the 180s on the rams to get a little more snort, a little more knockdown. So this is 13 grains of number 9, which, there's still a little more room, but it's enough. It's a little light on full-footed rams, but on the topple rams, it's fine.
Yeah, that's a heavy load for 357. The standard being 158.
I run some 200s in the Freedom Arms revolver. I run 200s, and I've run some 200s in a contender. They work well. Well, as a matter of fact, they're using lately it's been the Hornady 200 interlock takes a ram pretty good. It's a little more recoil, but it even out of 357 Magnum, it's enough.
Huh.
So you don't shoot cast lead bullets in these?
I like to. I've been trying to make international class, and one of the reasons I started shooting 357 is it's easy to load for. I can for like my chickens, pigs, and turkey loads. I run them progressive because I can make good enough ammo that way. Some of the higher performance cartridges, bottleneck cartridges, the reloading becomes a little bit more work. I took that element out of my program for now, in order to try to get my scores to go up last year. And I keep shooting 39s. so I figured, okay, get the head in check, reduce all of the workload on everything else, and just get me fixed. Work on my routine on the line, make everything, because of all of the competitive sports things I've done, handgun silhouette is probably the only one that hasn't been intuitive after a while. I mean, it's one of these things that it's never mundane and it's never intuitive. You have to think about every shot. You have to make the grip the same every shot. You don't have to shoot one MOA. Don't get me wrong. You can shoot 2-3 MOA and be successful, but to do that with a handgun, you got to pay attention. And I have found that for me to be successful in IMSA silhouette, the two challenges that I've worked the hardest to adapt to is the clock and my glasses. Those are the two things that I've had to work the hardest to make sure. And I just last week bought a new pair of glasses. I took a contender with a scope and everything right into the eye doctor and said, here's what I'm doing. I want to get away from a progressive bifocal. I want to do what I can do to make this work so that my head position isn't so critical and all that. And we got that dialed in, and I've shot a few practice shots, and I think that's going to help a lot because it makes. But the thing is, now I have. It's funny because on my on the one pistol I've been shooting this year a little bit more, I actually had to change the exit diopter setting on the scope because I could actually adjust the scope so much better and make the reticle so hard. I can make the reticle so hard it'll dang near cut my skin. Looking at it now with the fixed focus glasses, it's like I'm 20 again. And so because of that, you move the ocular side of the scope to get that crosshairs nice and sharp. Well, then of course it changes the size of the exit diopter, to adjust it. Well, then that changes your eye relief. So, it's like, okay, now that I can see it that much better, I'm probably gonna end up moving all my scopes to shoot with the better glasses. So, but yeah, that's the thing. So that's why I've been shooting these. I've been shooting 30 Reese a lot this year. But that's a lot of work. That's loading the cartridges. It's like loading any of the others Wildcats that are shouldered, making brass, sizing them the right way, making sure everything's right, and all that. So
isn't it wonderful when you can see, man?
Well, and I even what I was doing before, I could see better than 99% of people. But the problem that I was having a difficult time adapting to is in running up against the clock, you get in position and you're not being repeatable and consistent in your position, and it affects everything. And you end up looking out of a different part of your glasses. And when you use progressive bifocals and you look out of a different part of your glasses, the parallax error is atrocious. I've shot some shots and it's funny because you get in position and it doesn't feel quite right. And you're like, oh, it'll be okay. And you take the shot and it's not okay. It's not okay.
Going from having contact lenses to having eye surgery and being able to actually see was a major difference. And it's funny because you bring up taking your scope to the eye doctor, which I love that, man. I love that. That's so freaking awesome that you did that.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. And they actually were really intrigued. The gal that did my pre-screening, she didn't know me. I went to the same eye doctor for a long time, and we have some commonality in the past. And so I just left the gun out in the truck, and I went and I told the girl what I wanted to do. I said, I want to get 2 pair of glasses. I want to get my normal bifocals, and then I want to do a pair of shooting glasses. And here's what I'm doing. And I got down on the floor and showed her the position, and she goes, okay, that looks like it's going to be about 18 or 20 inches, and we can do the focal distance for that. And I was telling her about it, and Steve's like, did you bring a gun? I'm like, yeah, I did. He goes, well, go get it. And so I'm in there in the eye doctor's office on the floor in a Creedmoor position, and he's got a tape measure, and he measured how far. And we talked about
cool, man. That's cool.
We talked about the second focal plane on the scope where the image actually appears and where it actually is, and that different parts of the image are in different places. The reticle is actually right past on the first focal plane or second focal plane. Your view out the front is actually sitting on the surface of the back side of the lens is where you typically see it. And so he measured it and stuff. So when he did that pair of glasses, he set up the thing he put a thing about 20 inches in front and he fine-tuned those glasses there, and he looked at the prescription, and we were talking about a lot of different things to do. And he goes, dude, he says, I can fine-tune you for that distance and 200 meters without anything special. He says, that's doable. He says, you'll be good from about 10 inches to infinity. He says, you're going to lose a little bit up close, but it won't be terrible. I'm like, no, that's great. And he says, let's build them. And if they don't work, bring them back and I'll change the lens. He says, okay, cool.
Dude, that's awesome when you got someone like that. That's so cool. And I only brought that up because, you talked about the differences in the scope and changes and stuff. And when I had my eye surgery years ago, going up to other people's guns and they go, hey, you want to shoot this? You want to shoot this? Dude, I got to change so many things. Half the time I just sit there and go, dude, I'd rather not mess with it. Just, I appreciate you want me to shoot it, but I'm going to have to change so many things on the optics to get it to work.
I kind of stole the chat there. What's our next cartridge, Jamie?
It's time for our verse of the week.
Oh, okay. Well, that's more important than a cartridge. That should be like 312 or something. 316. 316 should be the verse of the week if you're going to do a heavy 30.
Close, but we ain't quite got there. This is Walter's fault, y'all. He wants to go all the way through John chapter 3. So tonight's verse of the week is going to be John chapter 3, verses 4 and 5. Remember last week we talked about John 3:3. Jesus answered and said to him, most assuredly I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. And y'all are just been talking about seeing. Anyway, verse 4 there says, Nicodemus said to him, how can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter his second time into his mother's womb and be born again? And verse 5 says, Jesus answered, most assuredly I say to you, unless one is born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. Notice the change from verse 3. Jesus says he cannot see the kingdom of God. In verse 5, he says cannot enter the kingdom of God. But we're practically talking about the exact same thing. So as we usually do, I want to share with you John MacArthur's notes on these verses. We'll start with verse 4. And John MacArthur says there that a teacher himself, Nicodemus understood the rabbinical method of using figurative language to teach spiritual truth, and he merely picked up Jesus' symbolism. Well, I believe that Nicodemus understood something, but the real issue, he didn't. He picked up on the symbolism, but he still had questions. And according to David Guzik there, he says Nicodemus may have not known he still had questions. And we'll get into his notes right here, and then we'll cover verse 5. So Nicodemus's reply may not have been out of ignorance, but from thinking that Jesus meant a moral reformation. His question may be, how can you teach an old dog new tricks? One way or another, Nicodemus clearly did not understand Jesus or the truth about the new birth. There's a commentator named Dodds, D-O-D-S, which Guzik quotes there, and he says, had our Lord said every Gentile must be born again, he would have understood. So there's a thing here. Okay, how can a man be born when he is old? This is Guzik continuing there, and he's in his description of new birth, Jesus recalled a familiar theme from Old Testament promises of the new covenant, like Deuteronomy 30:1-6, Jeremiah 23:1-8, Jeremiah chapter 31 verses 31-34, Jeremiah 32, Ezekiel 11:16-20, Ezekiel 36:16-26, Ezekiel 37, 11-14, and 21-28. These passages essentially made three promises in the new covenant: a gathering of Israel, a cleansing and spiritual transformation of God's people, and the reign of the Messiah over Israel and the whole world. So in Jesus' day, the common teaching among the Jewish people was that the first two aspects of the new covenant had been fulfilled. They saw Israel gathered, at least in part, after the Babylonian exile. And they saw strong spiritual movements like the Pharisees, which they believed fulfilled the promise of a spiritual transformation. All they waited for was the reign of the Messiah. That's why Jesus' statement about the new birth was so strange to Nicodemus. He thought the Jewish people already had it. They certainly weren't looking for it, and they only looked for a triumphant Messiah. But the Messiah they looked for was totally different than what Jesus turned out to be. And let's look at verse 5 right here. Jesus answered, "Most assuredly I say to you, unless one is born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God." So John MacArthur there says that Jesus referred not to literal water here, but to the need for cleansing. And he cites one of the same passages that Guzik just did, Ezekiel 36, verses 24 through 27. So when water is used figuratively in the Old Testament, it habitually refers to renewal or spiritual cleansing, especially when used in conjunction with quote unquote spirit. And he lists a number of references there. Thus, Jesus made reference to the spiritual washing or purification of the soul, accompanied by the Holy Spirit through the Word of God at the moment of salvation. And that's Ephesians 5:26, Titus 3:5. So this is required for belonging to his kingdom. And back to Guzik there. So Jesus was emphatic in saying that man does not need reformation, but a radical conversion by the Spirit of God. We must be born of water and the Spirit. And Morris there says in verse 3, Jesus has spoken of seeing the kingdom of God, whereas here he speaks of entering it. There's probably no great difference of meaning. So most assuredly, when you see most assuredly there, that's like our modern expressions is, I'm telling you the truth. Believe me when I say, I do assure you. In other words, I'm not telling you no stories. I'm telling you the truth. Unless one is born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. Guzik there says if a nation passed a law that said no one could live there except those who were born in that nation, and someone wanted to live there who was not born there, it wouldn't matter if he took a name that was common to that nation. It wouldn't matter if he spoke the language. It wouldn't matter if he observed the customs. It wouldn't matter if he dressed like those in that nation. It wouldn't matter if he practiced some of the religious traditions of that nation. It wouldn't matter if his parents were born in that nation. It wouldn't matter if his children were born there. It wouldn't matter if he had friends in that nation. All that would matter was if he was actually born there. And he's got a great quote by Spurgeon, but we'll come back to that. We know from John 3:10 that whatever being born of water was, it should have been familiar to Nicodemus from the Old Testament. Remember now, he's a rabbi. He's a member of the Sanhedrin, so that means that he was more than likely of the Pharisee sect or the Sadducees, one or the other. But he was a very high-ranking official, because Jesus refers to him later in this chapter, as we'll get to later in our study. Is that you are the teacher in Israel, not just a teacher. You are the teacher. So some have thought born of water means to be baptized. Water here may represent baptism, but there is no real Old Testament foundation for this. Some have thought that born of water refers to our physical birth, since we come forth from a sack of water. This approach is more attractive, but doesn't it simply state the obvious? However, it does make a good parallel with the idea of that which is born of the flesh in the next verse. And he goes on to talk about and we'll wrap this up here. Some have thought that born of water means to receive the water of cleansing prophesied in Ezekiel 36:25 through 28 as part of the new covenant. This approach has the most weight, though it is a tough call because of its firm connection to Old Testament prophecy, which Jesus says Nicodemus should have known to understand these things. So Jesus's point here, being born of the water and the Spirit, is talking about, I agree more with what MacArthur's saying here. The water is a spiritual cleaning and a renewal of the Spirit, which when we come to Jesus in repentance, we are we receive the Holy Spirit, and then we should develop a desire to change. First thing we notice from MacArthur's note there is the symbolism of the cleansing, the spiritual renewing from the water. In modern times, we recognize this through baptism, and there are a lot of different forms of baptism, but baptism is just your an act of obedience, a public pronouncement, for lack of a better term, of your faith in Jesus. So this cleansing, this spiritual renewal, this regeneration is only accomplished by the Holy Spirit through God's Word. This is a lifelong process, and us church people call it sanctification. The first step is conviction of sin brought upon us sinners by the Spirit of God, and continues through the Word of God. And we talked about Guzik's note. So let's just keep studying this chapter, and I think we'll learn a lot about what Jesus is teaching here. But his main thing is spiritual renewal and regeneration of the Spirit through the Holy Spirit. And that develops in us a desire to dig into God's Word, to learn, and hopefully obey. And that's our verse of the week tonight. Anybody got any questions or comments? Did that make any sense at all?
Yes, sir. I like it.
Yep. Makes plenty of sense.
I'm sorry about the frogs, guys. I just had to step outside for a minute.
I'd say the only comment I kind of got there is on the teacher part of it. You may not consider yourself a teacher, but if you have knowledge in certain things and you can pass that knowledge on, then technically you're a teacher. And a lot of people don't like being referred to as a teacher, but you know, if you have certain knowledge and you can pass it on, then that's exactly what you are. You're teaching someone else and you're passing on knowledge. And it's a good thing. We grow and we learn more as we pass more on. So there's nothing wrong with being a teacher.
I agree. I think a lot of us can teach, but we need students who are eager to learn, and I think that's what the Spirit puts into us, is that desire to learn about God and to get to know God better. Because, like I've said on here many times, religion is a set of rules that no person can live up to, and we're all sinners.
Well, when you're teaching, it's if the person's not receptacle to understanding and actually trying to follow what you're teaching, then it's never going to work. And that's always going to be a thing. And especially when it comes to religion, you know, you're trying to pass on the knowledge of this, that, the other in religion. And unless that person's willing to accept that and take that in and understand it, they're never going to move forward.
That's
And
true.
actually, Jamie, every statement that you just said, there was a whole lot of truth in every word that you just said. You have to have students that are willing to learn. I mean, just everything that you just said was great.
Well, I appreciate it. I think what saves you is a relationship with God through Jesus, brought on by the Holy Spirit, and the process of sanctification, where you get to know Him better and grow closer to Him. It's a relationship that saves you, not necessarily quote unquote religion. I seriously dislike that word, but I also understand that it's a generic term that relates worldly to worship, and I got that. I understand that. I just don't. I don't like the term because I immediately start thinking of a set of rules, and you know we're reloaders. We're already thinking outside the box. So I just want to thank you guys for indulging me and listening while I go through the verse of the week every week, and I think it helps me, and I hope that it makes a difference in somebody's life, and that's why we do what we do in the verse of the week.
No, that's what you do with everything we do on here, and all the chats. You know, we do multiple different chats throughout the week, and that's what we do. We try to make you guys' week better. We try to help you guys learn some things. We want you to have fun. You know, especially over on foreign domestic. You know, you're more than welcome to bring up topics, stir up BS, whatever, and cause some things. We have fun over there, but we're all here to learn. We're all here to pass on knowledge, and just have fun with it.
Verse of the week gets me through the week, Jamie.
Well, I'm glad. Any other questions or comments about that particular subject matter? Quick question, then we'll start going through the room. How many of you guys have tried the Gordon reloading tool? How many of you have tried quick loads, and which do you like best?
I use neither.
I'm an old fashioned book guy. I've got several different manuals, and I compare them all.
Yep.
Yeah, that's same way. Just books. I'm not sure what the Gordon tool is. I don't have that, so
I haven't blown my face off yet, so it apparently works. My method. Just compare it.
You've come close once or twice.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't that close.
Well,
I've used the Gordon reloading tool. It's okay. Since that guy died, though, to me, I just can't seem to make it work anymore. So I've been thinking about buying the other one.
Well, QuickBooks or the quick loads is
Quick load.
it's QuickBooks. Yeah, it's kind of crap in, crap out. Kind of like a ballistic chart. You
I
got to be able to interpret what you're looking at.
I look at quick loads kind of like Wikipedia. It's the Wikipedia of reloading data, and you got to be careful. That's the best way I can put it. It's like the Wikipedia of reloading data. Just be careful.
I use Gordon's reloading tool, and I agree with what Six said. Since Gordon passed, there's some effort to keep it up to date, but that's falling by the wayside. I don't have any experience with quick load. I'd like to try it, but I've been personally put off by the distribution model of, they distribute through this Necco or whatever this company is that used to make some concentricity tools and things of that. And it just the whole thing looks like a hassle. And then their update stuff, when they do release it, it just doesn't appeal to me. So I've never purchased it. I've had some extremely good results from Gordon's reloading tool using their parametric powder search and then their interpretation of the optimum barrel time concept, suggesting charge loads based on various things. And then here recently, within the last 6 months, there's another entity in Germany that started another one. And the first thing I thought is, okay, they're picking up where Gordon left off, but they're very quick to dispel that. And it's Apex Load Pro, and it's a web-based tool. They'll give you some free time to try it if you want, or you can buy the subscription. They started out calling it Quick Load Pro. So a lot of people thought, well, it's the next part of Quick Load. Well, really what it is that it's totally different from what they say, and they're trying to pick up where the others left off. They're using a little bit different modeling than the legacy software models that were used in both GRT and Quick Load. And I think there's some promise there. I think right up front there was some challenges with it being web-based, and some people got frustrated. But it seems like the developers are very responsive from what I'm reading in the forums. Now, I've not tried that software yet, but I did read. And then there's another one too, not Apex Load Pro. There's one other one too. Apex Load Pro is an extension of a little bit lesser product that they've expanded a little bit, so that you can go right to their website. I just Google Apex Load Pro and you'll find it. And there's another one that I've been looking at in like the last week that I stumbled across. It's another web-based one. I can't remember what it's called, and I'm trying to get my facts straight here. Either Apex Load Pro or this other one, they, in their question and answers, they answered the question about, well, why don't you have a optimum barrel time function like Gordon's reloading tool had? And the guy had a really good answer. He says, the problem is I don't think it's safe. And the reason that he doesn't think it's safe is that Gordon's reloading tool, what it would do is you would use their software, come up with a charge, go out and shoot it, chronograph it, then re-enter your chronographed numbers and your verified case capacities and whatnot into the software. And the software would adjust its internal variables to make the modeled thing closer to what you witnessed in real life. And you do a couple of iterations, you can get it down pretty close. Then you do this optimum barrel time to try to get the barrel to exit on out of the barrel.
You're trying to tune it.
Right.
Trying to tune it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I had extremely good luck with 4 or 5 rifles doing that. But the part I hadn't thought about is, what is that software doing internally to make my numbers match the model, or the model match my number? And this guy went over that and said, and he actually did some test cases where what it would do is it would change things, which made it calculate the pressure in a different way to line more up with the pressure that would be required to go your velocity. And you can get into a situation where the software is telling you that you're at, say, 90% of allowable pressure when you're actually much higher than that. And that's kind of dangerous if you don't think about it. Now, granted, if I had to run this tool and I found a node and it suggested a powder charge that was 7 grains over what I saw in any book, I'd say, wait a minute, I'm not going to do that. I don't have the instrumentation to see if that's a problem or not. All I have is your basic toolbox of things that we have as ordinary people, measuring the base expansion of your cartridges or whatever else. I think all these tools are very valuable, but I think they need to be combined with experience and a good library of reloading books, and also with the knowledge that we all know that powders change over time. We like to say that the recommended charge weights in the books vary because of lawyers and other things, liability, but they also vary somewhat because of different batches. And anyone that wants to tell me that I'm wrong about that, I would throw right back at them. Then why do precision shooters always insist on having a consistent lot number of their powder? And they totally redevelop.
Exactly.
There's guys nowadays, new barrel, new powder at the same time. They don't even waste
Yep.
their time on an old barrel with a new batch of powder, and they won't. You buy like this. You don't buy 1 pounders unless you can get them all in the same lot. Frankly, I would prefer a plethora of 1 pounders in the same lot over an 8 pounder, because then I can open one at a time and I'm not exposing the whole 8 pounds to atmosphere. It can sit there sealed for a while.
I was gonna say, once you open it, you're opening it up to atmospheric pressure. You're getting more
Right.
differences there. And then depending where you're at, humidity and all the rest of it can cause more problems too.
There's a whole can of worms there, and that's why the guys that are shooting the sub-teen aggregates at serious matches load it. They'll cark a couple foulers and say, okay, it's going to take a tenth more today, because the powder changes each day and the atmosphere changes each day, the pressure changes each day. It's not just the powder that changes, it's everything else in the world. So there's a lot.
I venture shoot, so I know you're talking right up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a lot, and I'm like you. I prefer, like, my 6BR prefers Varget. Okay. And I got, instead of buying a 1 big 8-pound jug, I've got lot numbers of 1 pound jugs.
Right.
And I like that better. I do.
Too. It's hard to do, but I do like that better.
And I've heard people have taken all the lots and pouring them into a big Tupperware thing and mixing them up and then pouring them back into 1 pound jugs.
Yep.
And
there's
that works
also
too.
There's also guys that have their magic powder from 40 years ago that they've been milking on the same drum for all these years. There's actually magazine articles about it. I'm going to burn up my last pound of this stuff. What am I going to do? It's like, wow, how much have you adjusted over the years?
Right.
and
as far as Gordon's reloading tool, I didn't know. I heard references about it through my late internet stuff, but I'm kind of like Kyle, and I'll go ahead and say CW is I read a lot of books and kept them in front of the John in the morning. And what a nerd! I'm reading. Let's find out about 25-06 today, and read it and stick it in your head, and all of a sudden you start remembering powder burn rates, and those change a little over time, but they don't skip like four levels, and you start picking burn rate charts that are a little bit more accurate than the relative burn rate chart that Hodgkin has. That's a good tool, but the old Western Powders one was much more accurate. You could look in and see what was very similar to what, and you start memorizing that stuff. And CW's better at it than me, but you could ask, well, what's your load for a 125 SST and a 300 blackout, or what's your load for a 165 bullet and a 308 with this brass and this. And I could sit there and throw it out at you because I've read so much stuff, and your mind can only hold so much,
Right.
You would think, but I haven't found a limit to it yet.
I think the software is good for helping you see some of those things. You can try different powders and see how the burn rates are and say, hey, wait a minute, with this powder charge and this cartridge and this barrel length, I'm burning out way after the bullet exits, and that's where where your muzzle blast is coming from, and and those are the tools that are fun to use within the realm of understanding that there's a lot of variables that you just can't control. So everyone wants to control the variables that they can control. So as reloaders, we kind of tend to focus on things like powder charges, hyper accuracy, seating depths, hyper accuracy. For a while, all the hotness was around concentricity, and for right now, bullet pull is and stuff there. It goes, those are all things that you can control as an individual, so it's easy to focus on them. I think that I strive for variables that I think make a difference, and I think in striving to make those variables a little more controlled, that just by association and wanting to have good ammo, my other stuff all gets better too. Because to get good seating depth or to get good consistent bullet grip from your brass, you have to have consistent case length. You have to have decent brass. There's a lot of things that, and then when you line all those things up, then it starts to pay dividends. I don't think there's really any one or two things that you can do. It's a whole program, you know, and the more you can evolve that program, the better it'll get. But it's the other thing is too, is GRT is really cool because it's good for me. And I think Quick Load's the same way. I've never played with it. But like when I started fooling around with some of these Wildcat cartridges, I can draw them up, measure the volume and stuff, and get a basic idea of where I'm at. You know, and that's very helpful for me because I'm playing with enough weird stuff. You know, when I start playing with, you know, Siamese Mauser and whatnot, it's like, you know, what do I want to run for a charge? There's not a ton of load data out there. There's a few things, but not very much. So I mean, it's neat for that too, and it's good experimenting with it.
What I used it for the most was when I make a mold for a bullet that doesn't exist, I can go into the GRT and find something similar, and I can modify that bullet in there and then adjust it and see where everything was at and come up with my starting loads.
The one place where I think it's a little bit beyond most of us, including me, is GRT actually includes in the internal ballistics a lot of the friction and deformation and this and that and the other of the bullet as it engages the rifling. So it's got actually areas where you can enter the dimensions of your rifling and your, you know, and stuff like that, which most of us neither have the tools, the ability, nor the interest in trying to define, you know. Now, granted, if you have a Remington 700 with the coveted 5R rifling, you can look at the drawings and you can just enter it in there. So you end up kind of using some of this stuff that's just baseline. How close is it? It's probably close enough for my use. So, you know, I don't have a need to, you know, get down to the fourth decimal place on any of this stuff, you know, for what I do, you know, because you know, you can get as detailed with those things as you want if you have the ability to measure it. Now, maybe Six, maybe you do have the ability to measure all that stuff, you know, so it's probably interesting that you could actually go about that.
All right, boys. Sorry to cut us short. We're over already. We've got to go through the room as quickly as possible, clear the deck for Chad and the boys over at Let's Talk About Bench Rest. Fascinating conversation tonight. Didn't know that was going to take off like that. Maybe we'll talk about that again next week. So, yeah, a lot of us didn't get to get in on that. So, Curtis, thanks for being here, man. It's great to see you. What do you got coming up this week? And we'll move on and get out of here.
Like I said, I have the military shoot there at Hillsdale tomorrow. The following weekend, I have a one-day silhouette match at one of the clubs I belong to. And then the weekend after that, I have a two-day silhouette match at another club. So kind of getting things geared up for that and chase that elusive international class. Hopefully I'll get there this year. I might try to shoot in the nationals in, I believe it's in Ohio this year. I don't remember if it's at Logan or one of those places. I might go try to shoot the IMSA Nationals this year. I definitely qualify. If I went right now, I qualify big bore in AAA. As soon as I shoot a 40, guess what? I get to shoot an international with the big fellas, and we all shoot 40s, and it's all down to your 10 half-size shoot-off targets. So, but that's all I got going.
Well, thanks for being here, buddy. It's great to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Kyle, what you got coming up this week?
Well, what I've got is we're doing our once a month big sale at work. So tomorrow's going to be terrible, but I'll get through it. Curtis, it was great to see you. It was great to see everybody in the side chat and all that. Thank y'all so much for being here because y'all are what keep us doing this. Go ahead, Six.
All right. We are going to try cowboy shooting in the morning. It'll be the first time since she's had her surgery. So it's been over a month since we shot. I talked to my gunsmith this week. He said it was 4 to 6 weeks or 2 to 4 weeks to fix my pistols, but it's been 5 weeks. And I called him. And he said, I lost a note. I couldn't call you or nothing. He couldn't remember exactly what he needed to do to him. So I'm going to shoot what's called rifleman in the morning. Huh?
He was supposed to sell them.
Yeah. But got Wadcutter Wednesday coming up, and this Sunday, second part of rebuilding my Sheridan air gun. That's about it for me.
Cool.
Rebel.
Rebel.
Oh, I'll go kill some varmints, and if I can get out of the truck and rest on the sandbags. If not, as long as there's no traffic, I'll just hang the gun out the window. But it's about as much as I can do right now. I can't set up my bog pod or anything. And who really wants to at 103 and 105 degree heat index? You know, my buddy was trying to do it, and he had a big beach umbrella on the back of his truck. He looked like an absolute tard sitting out there on the side of the road with a beach umbrella on the back of a giant, big GMC truck and a big old chassis rifle. And people were stopping and say, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" And he was getting aggravated. And I was like, "What do you expect? You know, I mean, what do you expect? Of course they're going to ask you." But anyway, trying to get ready for you guys coming up and coming down, and look forward to that. And trying to keep getting better on the walking cane so I can motivate. And I'll see you guys soon. It was good seeing you, Curtis. Glad to have you here. Love talking technical stuff. So, Scotsman, what you got?
Oh, it's good to be here. Good to see everyone out there. Kyle said it. Jamie says it every week. You guys all make this chat happen. So always a huge thank you to all of you guys for being here, being a part of it, asking questions, and please ask more. It drives the chat, makes the chat what it is. So thank you again. Always appreciate everyone out there. Always appreciate when I can be here. This past week was a little bit better. Managed to get a video out this past week. Just a small little review. Wasn't great. Felt like I was new at YouTube, and I haven't made a video in quite a while. So, but we'll get back in the swing of things. Got a couple other videos coming up here soon, and Monday will mark 5 years of being a citizen. So he was out there in the comments on my latest video and brought that up, and he asked me if he offended anyone, and I'm like, dude, if you offended anyone, they can go kick rocks.
I'm sure that's exactly how you phrased it.
Well, I'm trying to be respectful on Jamie's chat, but you know what I mean.
Kicking rocks is good enough.
Right. So, no, as always, it's, I'm blessed to be here, blessed to be a part of it. So thank you all. Good seeing everyone. CW, what you got coming up, man?
As always, thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone on the panel, everyone in the side chat. Really good time, really good, quick moving chat. We kind of got off on a couple of different topics there, and Jamie's right, something we definitely haven't done, and sounds like we need to. There's some definite information there that can be garnered from these two places, as well as a couple more we didn't comment about. So that'd be a good topic for the night. I got 2 338 ARC videos coming out this week. Take a look at those, watch for them. And I want to thank everybody on the panel for being here. You guys drive this, and the side chat is where it's at. So thanks, everybody. Jamie?
Thanks for being here. We love you. There ain't nothing you can do about it. We'll leave you with this. Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. All right. We'll see you next Friday night, Lord willing. Say good night, y'all.
God
Good
bless.
night, y'all.